people haven't really developed systems so much to speed up the production of parchment. So there are, you could actually make it fairly simply just by taking a hive, building yourself a frame to stretch the skins on, using a spackle knife, and then maybe a bag of lime and a sander. That's really all you need, to make fairly crude parchment. This is a fleshing knife, okay, or something close to this is probably what they would have used, back in the Middle Ages. It has a sharp edge on the front. This one also has a sharp edge on the back. The shape of the tool, it has like a slight curve in it this way, and there's also a curve this way. So you put all that together with the fact that you are doing work over a curved surface, and it allows you a lot of control and a lot of precision, more than you think, in trying to clean off the hive. What I need to do before I get to that is the de-hairing portion. We use this, a scudding knife. Scudding is basically a weird way of saying that you're sort of scraping the hive, cleaning out all the grease and stuff. Sort of clean the hive out, so you don't need this on here. Like so. Okay. And then the goal is basically you want to anchor your head against the hive so that it doesn't sort of run away from you as you're trying to work on it. Okay, but make sure it's flat on here, and then isn't that gratifying? Nice and clean. So, but yeah, keep a sort of a mental image of what this hive looks like now, compared to what you guys are used to seeing as an end product. So. Does anyone want to try this?
You ready for this?
He's born ready for this.
These lines, the sort of smiles there, those are flesh cuts. So that's when someone is trying to remove the hide from the animal, and they end up slicing into the hide with the knife. But as I'm sure you've all seen, there are lots of times where you'll see holes in parchment, and they will either try to sew it up or repair it, or they'll just write around it, or in some cases they'll even embellish it. But so I'm basically trying to do the same operation as I did with that wooden knife, except on the flesh side, and this is much sharper, where you sort of just move side to side when you do it. So. Okay, this is a fleshing machine. Very creative name. And for that I use this tool here. Okay, this is actually a leather paring knife, but it works really well for this because it has the curved edge, right? And why that's important is if you'll notice, when you stretch on this or push on it, it will bow under pressure. If you were to use a flat edge, flat knife, then it would basically only end up touching right at the edges of that knife, and you would not really be able to scrape anything. You would just cut the skin directly. So what I'm going to try to do is put my hands close to the blade and then scrape to bring out the excess water. Okay, well, I guess the idea is, you take a round blade, you have handles on either side, and make sure that it's sharp on the edge. And this works an awful lot better than that little knife I had, because two handles, handles perpendicular to the blade makes it so that you can cock the blade a little bit, and gives you a lot more control over it. It's also a much bigger surface area, coverage area, and it also weighs a lot. So it's got some heft to it, which means if you swing it across the skin, its momentum will help to keep it going, right? And what's also important is that when you're doing it, you're trying to shave off parts of the skin. So it's not just going to be like a super sharp edge all the way across. You want to make it nice and sharp, but then you actually want to turn the edge over ever so slightly. It's called a burr. Okay, so it's basically a teeny microscopic hook just on one side of the blade. And that hook is what is actually going to be removing parchment as you scrape it. So pumice works really well for something like this. But if you don't happen to live near a flaming spewing volcano, this is actually a loaf of bread with ground glass.